Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a continuation of our previous video. Again, I'm cracking the coding interview, the best book for software developers who want to work at top companies, Google's, Amazon's, Facebook's, etc. Okay, so today's a continuation of our check permutation problem, which is just the same as asking for anagrams, checking if one string has the exact same characters as a different string if you rearrange them. Feel free to pause the video to read this question. But anyways, we solved this using two different ways the other time. However, today I want to solve it with a totally different way. I want to use the dictionary to keep track of each character in a string, and then again, not an inbuilt Python. So the method I'm going to use is a hash table, and you can use this method in any language. It doesn't use any specific Python library to do this. Okay, so my first step, let me make sure I'm calling is permutation. Okay, so my first step, what I'll do is create a character dictionary. I'll call it character count. Again, just to keep track of key value pairs of the characters we see in each of the string. Again, character count right now is an empty dictionary. So what do I want to do? First step, before you do anything, I want to check this. So I'm gonna say if length of S1 is not equal to length of S2. Again, two strings can never be anagrams or can never be permutations of each other if they don't contain the exact same length of items. If they are not the exact same length, obviously they can contain the exact same characters. So if this is the case, we just want to return false. Okay, that's good. But if this is not the case, okay, so we can use the else statement, or to be honest, we don't have to. So I'm probably not gonna use the else case. Okay, so if this is not the case actually, so this should actually be our first check, to be honest. So I'm just gonna take this out, put this here. Okay, if this is, let me put a space in between. If this is not the case, okay, if we're gonna go on, we create our dictionary, because there's no point wasting processing power if they're not even the same length to begin with. So if this is not the case, I'm gonna use my S1 and S2 variable. I'm gonna say S1 equals S1.lower. Again, in this example, we don't care about case. If we cared about case, we do not need this line where we convert it to lower. We're just gonna work with S1 and S2 directly. So I'm gonna do the same thing with S2. Let me actually define them on the same line. Again, another fun application of Python is it lets you do this. Most other programming languages don't let you do this. Okay, so now I'm converting both of them to lower cases. Okay, now what do I want to do next? I want to iterate through S1. Okay, so I'm going to say for character in S1. Okay, for character. So now I'm iterating through S1 and leave a space. Okay, for character in S1, what do I want to do with S1? If this character is in our dictionary, if it's already in there, obviously in the first time of loop the dictionary is empty, so nothing is gonna be in there. If he's in there, what do I want to do to him? I want to increment him. So character count of character, this specific character is in the dictionary, I want to increment his value. Okay, else, meaning else cases, he's not in there yet. What do I want to do? I want to initialize him to a value of 1. Again, we've used the get function in the past. It's something you can use too. But anyways, okay, this is for S1. Okay, so in this case, we're going through D, O, G. So D will have 1, O will have 1, G will have 1. So now I want to do the same thing for S2. Actually, I want to do the reverse for S2. So I'm going to say for character in S2. S2 this time, not S1. Okay. Okay, for character in S2, we don't care about this guy in the bottom. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and make this guy bigger so we can kind of appreciate him more. I'm gonna close this. Okay, for character in S2, what do we want to do? Okay, the exact same, actually not the exact same thing, but similar. Okay, we want to do the reverse. Okay, if the character is in the same character count array, what do we want to do? We want to decrement him by 1, not increment him. Here we were incrementing, now we're counting down. If the character is in there, we want to decrement him by 1. The else case, to be honest, but if we have a character in S2 that is not in character count, now we know character count contains all the characters in S1 and how many times they occur in S1. If we have a character that is in S2 but not in S1, guess what we want to do? Yes sir, you guessed it, we want to return false. Okay, so there's no need for us to do anything in here. Okay, so now if we don't return false, if we come out of this loop successfully, meaning at least most of the characters in here were in there. Okay, now this is a case where maybe S1 had more characters than S2, so meaning, say if S1 had extra characters, obviously all the characters in S2 would be in S1, or so it's this loop is gonna pass, you know, if it was something like this. So now we need to iterate through the dictionary. So for, I'm just gonna say item in character dictionary, character count. Okay, now we're gonna iterate through all the items in this dictionary. Again, it's gonna make sense when we put this on the visualizer and see what's actually going on under the hood of this code. Okay, so now going through this, if character count of that specific item, if it's not equal to 0, why? We want it to be equal to 0 because we went through S1 and incremented all the character counts. We went through S2 and decremented all of them. However, if there's any element that doesn't have a 0, that means it exists in S1 but doesn't exist in S2. What do we want to do? We want to return false. However, if we go through all this trouble, and we get to this point, it means obviously we have to return true because they have the exact same characters, just possibly in different orders. So let's test it. In this code, it should return false right now. Yeah, like we expected. However, if we change it, it contains true. So if we add a G here and we add a G and a G, okay, sure, bam, we got it. So now let's go, like always, let's put our code in the visualizer and kind of see what's going on. Bam. Okay, let's start visualization. Let's also make this full screen. Okay, bam. So let's go. Let me give it some space. Okay, so let's go. Okay, now, oh man, let's go next. Okay, so I'm gonna define S1, S2. Okay, we define S1, S2 in the global scope, and I'm gonna call the function now. Call the function. Okay, now boom, we have S1, S2 in the function scope, S1, S2 in the global scope, just like expected. It's gonna check. Obviously, they have the same length, so it's gonna skip this if statement. Green is where it just ran. Red is where it's gonna run next. Boom, it skips it. Okay, so now it's gonna create an empty dictionary called character count. Boom, empty dictionary created. Okay, now it's gonna change S1 and S2 to lower. Okay, see how S1 and S2 have the uppercases in the scope. It's not gonna mess with them outside of the scope. In the scope, it's gonna change them to lower. So let's see. Boom, bam, change them to lower cases. Didn't mess with them in the global scope, because in the global scope, guess what? They're still uppercase. Okay, so now let's keep it pushing. Let's keep it pushing. Okay, so now we're gonna iterate through S1 and increment it. So I'm just gonna fast forward through this. Okay, boom, we're done with S1. Okay, it says S1 has one D. Okay, the first one is D. It does it in order. Has two G's, GG, and has one O. Exactly what we expected it to have. It's gonna now go through S2 and decrement as it goes. So obviously S2, the first item in S2 is a G. So first it's gonna decrement this to 1. So let's see that happens. Good, boom, it just decremented it. Okay, next is the O. It's gonna take this down to 0. Let's see that happen. Boom. Okay, then next is a D. It's gonna take D to 0, then G to 0. Let's see that happen. Okay, good. Now everything is 0 and we're done looping through S2. Okay, so now we're not gonna go in here obviously because we're always gonna go in here and we're done looping. So then we're gonna jump in here now. let's see, let's do that. Bam, see, bam, we're right here. Okay, so now it's not going to check through each item. If it's not a 0, return false, else return true. We know there's no zeros in here, so we know what's going to happen. I'm just going to fast forward. Bam, return true. That's it for the video, guys. I hope this solution helped you. Again, feel free to tune in for the next one. We solve these problems every day. Thank you.